Alright guys, I was going to do the entire Illuminati card game in just one video. I had about 150 tabs opened up for the cards and about another 150 to 200 tabs opened up for the articles relating to the cards. Unfortunately, I kicked the power plug to my computer and lost everything. So I lost about 3 or 4 days worth of work, and that was really irritating. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to break this down into sections and just do a few cards at a time. And I think since today is March 11th, the anniversary of Fukushima, I think it's appropriate to start with that. So that's what I'm going to do. First of all, I'm going to give you a little history on Steve Jackson and his games and what gives it any credibility at all. And that is the fact that these cards were made in 1995, and a lot of what was written on those cards has been predicted to with incredible detail. So, you know, down to the T. And I'll leave a link to this in the description so you can read this. I'll just click on it for a second here. But this is what basically gives it some credibility. Is the government tried to get rid of these cards. They tried to get rid of Steve Jackson. So that kind of gives it just a little bit of credibility there. Like I said, these cards came out in 95, 9/11. Everything was predicted on there. All through the I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna break it down for you. But anyways, here's the goal: population reduction. I could not find it. I looked hard. I found it before. I cannot find it now. This is an actual skyline of Japan. These buildings do exist just like this in Japan. There is a view of this. So that kind of tells us where it's at. I cannot find that for you at this point in time. If I can later, I'll put it in the description. So that's where I'm going to start off. The earthquake projector, what some people call HARP, which could be HARP, could be something else, could be HARP, which led to the earthquake, the tidal wave, and the nuclear accident, which gives us the combined disasters. If you'll look on each one of these cards, it says disaster on the bottom. Disaster, disaster, disaster. The combined disasters was a combination. What's interesting is that this card has been mistranslated at least 3 or 4 times. I mean, one of them was the Boston bombing, one of them was the Olympics, one of them was the train that got blown up before the Olympics in Russia. A lot of different things have been, I mean, and the reason why people thought it was going to be the Olympics is because the colors of their shirts, which I can see how you could get that, but once we look at this a little further, we'll find that that's not what it was. We'll see that this is the Fukushima disaster. Over here on the left, we have the wall, which is to represent the wall of water, the tsunami. In the center here, we have people apparently on fire and not running or fleeing or actually being burned or caught on fire. That is symbolic of the radiation or the nuclear disaster. And over here we have the falling clock, which is symbolic of a earthquake. And if you look carefully right here at the clock, the hour and the minute hand is pointing in between the 2 and the 3 and at the 11, just about at the 11. What's interesting about that is the Fukushima disaster happened on 3/11, March 11 of 2011 at approximately 2:46 p.m. is when the tsunami hit, and then up until about 3:30 they were waiting for the tsunami wave. So what this clock is basically pointing to is the date and the time of the incident itself. And this clock tower is in Japan. And what's interesting is that this is the most famous clock, this is the most famous picture of this clock tower on the internet. If you go and look up the Waco or Waco, I don't know how it's pronounced, it's WACO clock tower. If you look that up under Google Images, this is the first image you'll see. It's the most popular image, and I would like to know who took this picture, and I would like to know when they took it, because it's also pointing at the date of 3/11. So that's interesting. Another card that hints to this is the Atomic Monster card, which resembles a Godzilla, which came from Japan. And if you actually read the card, the biggest attack that this card actually has is against Japan or California. And those are the two areas that have been most devastated by the Fukushima disaster. So again, we have another hint to this event. And this is just basically a timeline breaking it down, showing you that it was in fact in between the time of 246 and 327. So that's basically breaking down just the Fukushima disaster, and that's just a few cards. So we've got tons more to go. Thanks for listening.